Hi there traders, this is FxExplained and another Master Academy with Steve Miley. And in today's Master Academy we're going to be taking a look at stock market indices. So what shall we look at today? We're going to look at what is a stock market index, what are the different types of indices, and we're going to look at how they are calculated. Indices, by the way, the plural of index. And finally, we're going to take a look at stock market index examples. So, what is a stock market index? It is a weighted average or a number of stocks from a section of a stock market. A stock market index is calculated from the price of these selected stocks, usually, but not always, a weighted average. The stock market index is supposed to reflect an entire stock market and track the entire market over time. So what are the types of indices? Well, we can have global or world indices. An example of this would be the MSCI World Index or the S&P 500 Asia 50 as a regional index. So we can have regional indices and global indices. We could also have a national index. For example, for the UK, the dominant national index is the FTSE 100, the FTSE 100 index. And finally, we could have sector indices like health and utility indices. So how is a market index actually calculated? Well, there are two main ways which we can calculate a stock market average or index. Average being another word for a stock market index. Stock market averages or stock market indices. So the two ways of calculating them could be price weighted or capitalized weighted. A price weighted index, first of all, the price of a stock is the determinant of the weighting in the index. So an example of a price weighted index would be the Dow Jones Industrial Average. A capitalized weighted index, however, factors in the size of the company rather than the price of the stock. And that is the capitalization of the stock. So the capitalization of stock, the size of the company, determines the level of weighting in a capitalized weighted index. And an example of this would be the S&P 500 or indeed again the UK's FTSE 100 index. Let's take a look at some examples of stock market indices or averages. So in Europe we have the FTSE 100 for the UK, the Euro Stoxx 50, the largest 50 stocks they are in the whole of Europe. And then we have the DAX being the German stock market average. And here we have an example of a European index, the weekly chart for the FTSE 100 future. Next we're looking at the US stock market indices. Examples of these will be the S&P 500, often seen as the US benchmark index, the well-known Dow Jones Industrial Average, a historic index, and the Nasdaq 100, mostly focused on tech stocks. And here we have a longer term example, a weekly chart of the S&P 500 index. Now let's look at some Asia specific stock market indices, including from Japan the Nikkei 225, the Hang Seng from Hong Kong, and then the ASX 200, which is from Australia. And here we see the Nikkei 225 Japanese stock market average on a daily chart going back to 2018 through 2019. So, a brief introduction there for stock market indices. We've looked at what a stock market index is, the different types of index and how they are calculated, and shown some examples of these different stock market averages. That's all for now from FxExplained. Join me again for another Master Academy. If you have any questions about this article or this video, please leave a comment below and I'll come back to you.